My sense of conflict is that it's learned behavior, the way we deal with conflict. So it's not our personality. A lot of times people feel like, well, that's just how I am, or that's just how he is. In fact, it's something we learn. We learn a lot of it in our family, and we do learn a lot of it in school. And all of the things we learned are strengthened through the repetitions that we receive. And so the way I see school is it's a fantastic opportunity for young people to develop their ability to think critically, which is what the principles in this book help to do, is to think critically about action, to think critically about systems. And so I see when there's good programs in place for young people to normalize conflict, to say, okay, conflict's going to happen. It's going to happen for a good reason. It's going to happen because we care about things. So let's learn how we can talk with each other in ways that's going to make our lives better. That they're very capable of doing it. But as I once read many years ago, and it stuck with me in my mind, David Johnson is a person who developed a program for young people. He said, young people who are not taught conflict skills don't learn them. Yes. So what we're not taught, what we don't practice, what we don't learn, we can't do. And so this is really just and this is what the book for me is about, is that it's possible for literally everyone to change the way they react in conflict and to develop a way to approach conflict that makes their lives better, that helps them love their partners better, helps them live with each other in situations, work together better. And it begins with children. So I think it would be a fantastic goal to introduce on a more broad level these kinds of ideas to young people in a practical way. I see that movement has importance in a number of different ways in conflict. One is that on a feeling level, an idea level, inside of a destructive conflict, people think there's no movement possible. Forget it, this other person's impossible, and there's no way we're ever going to be able to come to each other. And this first impulse that occurs in a destructive conflict is to separate. And of course that has many, that does translate into our bodies, the way we sit with each other, the way we leave, the way we or attack or defend. And what I see in conflict is that when we develop the ability to be able to move towards someone even when we disagree, which doesn't mean to give up, it doesn't mean to let them win, it doesn't mean that we are going to necessarily do what they want, but the ability to come together in a physical way and also in an idea way with an open space between us that says, okay, this is not about what I think is supposed to happen or what you think should happen, but the question is, what are we talking about? How do we create a physical space between us that's also an idea space that we can then say, okay, given what you care about and what I care about, what might emerge out of that? And a lot of times what happens instead if we're in a destructive conflict is I say, here's what should happen. And you say, no, this is what should happen. And I say, no. And then we go like this, up on this level of strategy. And below the level of strategy is the stuff that actually matters, what people care about, what they need, what their experience is, what they hope for. And so all of these things have a sensation of movement. So when you're in a conflict where you start to understand that something's possible, there's a sense of relief of a possibility of motion. And so that's why I approach conflict from the standpoint of action too, because thinking about, if you just think, okay, well, what are we supposed to do? You're not going to go anywhere. But if we say, what am I doing? Which action am I choosing, consciously or unconsciously right now? How is that affecting the situation? Why is the other person choosing the action that they're choosing? Not what's wrong with them, what their personality problem is, but what action are they choosing and why? And so this, for me, I come from the field of dance. So I come from a field of coming up with physical strategies to allow ideas to become visible. And so this book is one physical strategy that can help us let our ideas become visible.